Tú eres muy malo. Roto el pato de vestuario. La interpretación siempre negativa. Siempre negativa. Nunca positiva.
Welcome to Siempre Positivo after Barcelona's 100% winning start to the season ended with a 1-1 draw at Rayo Vallecano on Sunday, and it could easily have been a defeat. Joining me, Sam Marsden, to get into what went wrong, VAR's failings and a dodgy pitch are, as ever, Rik Sharma and Tony Juan Marti. Rik, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Even though holiday is over, it wasn't quite over for me. I've been in the mountains and the Pyrenees, but I have been watching the games and writing on them, so not too disconnected.
Tony, ¿qué tal? I see you in a state of shock after learning the news that Erik ten Hag will be sacked as Bayer Leverkusen manager.
No, not shocked, but it seems a little bit too early, no? To start taking these decisions. But it's obvious that going after Xabi Alonso, it's never easy after what he did.
Yeah, well, I just said to Rik that obviously complete speculation as we don't follow Bayer Leverkusen or the Bundesliga that closely, but to sack him after 2 games, even if the results were horrific or not great, it smells of, obviously the staff or the players have obviously looked at Ten Hag and thought this guy's absolutely not up to it. It's sort of, absolutely horrific. It's not a good look at all, is it? I also said to Rik, and he said maybe not to follow Xabi Alonso for the points that you just said, but do you think Xavi Hernandez could be interested in the Leverkusen job?
No lo veo. I don't see it at all, to be honest. No.
Xavi's just resigned to be touring around water parks and having holidays for the rest of his life.
Why not? That's a good life. I wish I could do that, to be honest. I can't remember if I said on the pod or not, I went to Universal Studios in Singapore, and it's the first time I've gone to a theme park for 15 years, and it was absolutely amazing, so much better than it used to be. So, Why not?
Yeah, Xavi knows what life's all about. Right, Barca far from their best on what was a truly awful pitch, especially on one of the touchlines in Vallecas on Sunday. But they did take the lead in the 40th minute when Lamine Yamal won and scored a penalty. Pep Chavarria connected with Yamal's knee, sending him tumbling. But the decision was not without controversy. Of course, this is Spain, this is La Liga, as VAR was down in the first half. Meaning, as far as I understand it and what I can tell so far, there was no review because the VAR was down. I don't think they've actually confirmed 100% the VAR was down at that moment. It was down for the first 12 minutes. It appeared to come back and then it was down again. And it seems it was down during that moment.
I got a statement from Media Pro which said that they said in it there was errors with the VAR not working, and in the second half it was working. So I think we can assume in the first half it wasn't.
Yeah, the statement from Media Pro doesn't completely say when it was down and when it was working in the first half. It just said it was faulty in the first half. But yeah, there was no review. Would there have been one? We will never know. Or maybe we will. We'll get into that penalty decision later in the podcast. Dani Olmo then missed a gimme from about 8 yards to make it 2-0 just before the break, blazing over. And Barca were made to pay in the second half. Fran Perez eventually equalising for Rayo, unmarked from a corner. And it was the least Rayo deserved on a day when Joan Garcia stepped up for Barca. He had already made a stunning early save from Ratiu at 0-0. And he made more from De Frutos and Isi later in the game too, amassing 6 saves in total, not counting the ones which were later ruled offside. Barca's point, coach Hansi Flick said, was thanks to Joan Garcia, or as he seems to call him, as I hear him, or what I will always hear him say now, John Garcia. Start with the positive, Rik. Joan Garcia,
fantastic, yeah. I think we all agreed. Actually, I can't remember if we did or not, going back to the sporting director pod, but certainly we all discussed the idea that Barca should sign a goalkeeper, and I thought it was quite evident that they should. And this was, you can't say after 1, 2, 3 games, this is perfect, he's going to be a great goalkeeper. You never know what can happen with goalkeepers. Maybe in 3 months' time he loses confidence and it looks like a disaster. But for now, it looks like a fantastic signing, and he's hit the ground running. Some brilliant saves. Not at fault for the goal, more or less everything you could possibly hope from your goalkeeper in this one, and he earned Barca that point.
Naturally, there's going to be comparisons with Marc-Andre ter Stegen, of course. And I saw after Garcia's first save, that early one from Ratiu, which he sort of came out and was sprawling across, people sort of already validating the signing, saying this is why they signed him, etc. And I thought, hang on, that's one save in the scheme of it. But as the match progressed, there were probably there was a big enough body of saves to think that if Ter Stegen had been in goal, he would have conceded more goals. Obviously, like you say, it's still one match in the scheme of a whole season, but it's a good start.
But that first save, for me, at least from what I've seen in the highlights of the first games, was actually the first save he's made, really, for Barca. The first big save, first big moment. So I can understand people getting excited about it. But yeah, I mean, you are right. It is one save, yeah.
Yeah, but to go back to the summer, to be honest, when we did the Sporting Director episode, it wasn't that I didn't think Joan Garcia was good. It's just the fact that obviously we didn't know about Ter Stegen's injury at the time. He'd just come back. Wojciech Szczesny was going to renew, and Jaki Peña was still at the club. There's some talented young sort of 20 teenage goalkeepers, etc., coming through. And I kind of thought maybe money's better invested elsewhere, not on the goalkeeper, but it certainly looks like a market opportunity that couldn't be turned down. 25 million in this market. We'll see how it develops, but it's hard to see him losing that value, even if he doesn't sort of tick all the boxes. Tony, your thoughts on, well, this was probably Joan Garcia's, not because of his own fault in the previous two games. He didn't have loads to do and couldn't do much about the goals, but this was his first big night as a Barcelona goalkeeper.
I think it's not about opinions, no? I think we have not seen a performance like this of Ter Stegen, I would say, almost since his first season when Barca won the Champions League. So, Barca is Barca. It's not how do you say it in English? ONG. How do you say ONG?
Charity.
NGO.
Yeah, NGO.
And this is about performing. I don't have nothing against Ter Stegen, for sure not, but I think that the level that Joan Garcia showed is much higher of what we have seen of Marc-André Ter Stegen recently. I don't say that Marc has not done great saves. Of course he has done. But in a whole game, this kind of exhibition, I don't remember such an exhibition like this in the last 3 years, to be honest. And I don't think there is even debate about who's going to play. For me, it's a joke. I think it's 100% clear that even if Ter Stegen is back, he's not going to be anymore the first goalkeeper of Barca anymore. So, the only positive thing regarding this game that, we will discuss it now, different points, but plenty of negative symptoms and negative inputs.
Yeah, some of the Joan Garcia saves were huge. Like I said, the one from Retiu in the first 10 minutes was a 0.49 xG on that shot. There was also others with sort of over 0.3. The De Frutos one at 1-1 was 0.34. That was another high one. The one, I don't have the stats for the one he'd saved from. I feel like it still is relevant. The one from Issy at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
Down low to his right with a really strong hand. Obviously, it doesn't count on the stats, and I don't have all the details for it. But another sort of top save, even though, because at the moment it was a tight offside. You didn't know it was going to be offside. It felt like a big save. So there were probably, if you include offside saves, you'd probably push in sort of 8 to 10 saves, maybe.
To use Tony's word, to use the word symptoms, it's good symptoms, even if it didn't matter that save because it was offside. It's just good that he's making that save and he's capable of making that save.
Yeah, I mean, like Tony says, that doesn't mask the negatives, but it kind of is the negative. I've just seen an incredible stat this morning, Rick, and it says, it's from La Pausa FC on Twitter. One of our friends, Robbie Dunn, I think he runs the account. They work for Opta, and they group the Opta stats together, and the stat is big chances conceded after 3 games of the new La Liga season. Barcelona, bottom of the table, 12 big chances conceded in 12 games.
What does it mean, bottom? That the team that has conceded the most?
The most.
Yeah, the most big chances.
Wow, can you just send me this tweet by WhatsApp later?
I'll send you
the team that has received more clear chances.
That even more than Girona, who have let in 10 goals. That's insane.
Wow. That's
big chances conceded. Girona are second bottom with 10.
Wow. That's not. I mean, sometimes data are like not showing the reality. Into games, you can have bad afternoon, or you can have been playing with 10 men after red card after 20 minutes. But I don't think after these 3 games you are on the bottom of clear chances received. Is something casual. Yes, really good to show that the team. Well, we will talk about later, because for me a lot to discuss after what Hansi Flick said regarding I don't want to make a spoiler, no, but I think we are all talking or thinking about one concrete sentence, one concrete complaint that Hansi Flick made after the game.
Yeah, but I will say on a similar note to that from Flick, not the line Tony's talking about, I don't think, but relating to what Sam said about the big chances and the stats. Flick knows this, and he was absolutely fuming after the game. He understands that Barca are defending really badly in these first matches, and obviously at the end of the last season he said, the plan is to defend better. We haven't seen a single iota of that so far in the last two games at least, and at least he knows that, and he had a go at the players, he said, before they went off on the international break. He made his point clear. He said there was no time to let the players get on with it because they'd all disappear. He had to go and talk to them before he did his TV interview.
How can you defend better when the only sign-in in defence is the goalkeeper, who obviously doesn't help you defend better? It does help you keep more goals up. It doesn't help you defend better. They haven't strengthened at the base of the midfield. They have lost their leader from defence last season. The sort of, I'm not sure what's been going on with Jules Koundé, why he started the first two games at right back. Obviously against Rayo Vallecano, he made changes at centre-back with Rik Garcia and Christensen both starting there. But Flick also said, before we come on to the comment Tony was talking about, he also said that he was happy with the centre-backs and the defenders against Rayo to an extent, and that it was sort of the midfielders and the strikers making too many mistakes, and that the problem was obviously the turnover of possession, the amount of times they left themselves open to transition. Lamine Yamal said it was the lack of intensity. It's kind of linked, because obviously it comes on to how they played last season, but obviously there are other elements to that Flick spoke about.
But I don't know if it's just me or what you guys think about this, but actually watching the game, I thought that the Pedri and Frenkie were probably, if you ignore Joan Garcia, who was obviously the standout performer, Pedri and Frenkie were two of the better performers in this game. And those are the two deeper lying midfielders. Yeah, the ones in front, Lamine, Olmo and Rafinha and Ferran, were all very poor, to be honest. And they were giving the ball away a lot. But I thought Pedri and Frenkie were okay. And to answer what you said, Sam, you don't have to sign someone to defend better. You just have to coach the team to defend better, or change the strategy a bit to defend better. It's not, you don't have to sign Moises Caicedo, to bring up a name we had on the last pod.
Yeah, but you also don't have to lose probably the one sort of real leader you had in the sort of back line. If you look at, I know De Jong was the captain yesterday. If you look at De Jong, Pedri, they're leaders in different way, but Inigo is like that old-fashioned sort of leader, which maybe I'm wrong. We kind of at least kid ourselves into thinking most sort of teams need, especially sort of defensively, to organise, to lead, to be an example.
Yeah, obviously Araujo wasn't playing yesterday, but he can be a leader.
Okay, so this was what Flick said, which I presume Tony was referencing. I haven't planned it with Tony. He was asked about Fermin Lopez. Fermin came on. Obviously, there's been all the talk about Chelsea or a Premier League move today, Monday, transfer deadline day. And he was said, what's the situation with Fermin? And he said, we don't want to speak about individuals. We want to speak about the team. And then he said, the most important thing is that when the transfer market closes, everyone is 100% committed to this team. No egos, because egos kill success. Last season we played as a team, as one unit, and we have to go back to this. Tony, what was your reading into that?
My reading into that could be as long as La Biblia, but I'm going to be short, because I think it's obvious that it was totally expected that it was going to be the hardest part of this second season. We already talked about this, that no matter where do you start from, but you will be judged for the progress that your team made. So it was so easy after Xavi's last season to have 10 out of 10, but now you are compared with last season. So it means it's not that easy. We said we warned about this. And it's not easy, because with this system, with this way of playing, this style of playing of Hansi Flick, you need to press as if there was no tomorrow. You need to be focused. You need to have several things under control. And I have seen lots of things that I totally agree with Hansi Flick, what he says. Mira, to be honest, I didn't see the first game because I was on holiday, on a trip. The second game against Levante, I saw some minutes only. But yesterday, I saw the full game. And I saw plenty of bad details. Plenty. First of all, you won the last game. You won the first game. And yesterday, you changed both centre-backs. Both. And that's not rotation, because you're playing only one game per week. Both centre-backs in the bench, because Hansi Flick was not happy with what he was saying. Jules Koundé, Did you see the game yesterday? Out of focus, bad control with the ball, yellow card, out of focus and still with bad faces because he was in the bench in the first weeks. Olmo, nothing, and still bad face when he was substituted. The same of Rafinha. The humble guy that was going to smash it, and there was no problem if he was substituted last season, and who was almost all the games playing 90 yesterday, out after 60 minutes. And being so angry. So, this Rafinha is not the same Rafinha. It was really humble last season. Today is, hey, why I'm off? Lewandowski, only playing 20 minutes. Fermin, not being sharp on pressing. Just, he seemed to be 50% when he appeared on the pitch. So, at the end, if you add the 0.5 of this with 0.5 of this with the 0.5 of this, it makes that this team is the data that Samuel Marsden has already commented, that you are on the bottom of clear chances conceded. Because with this style of playing, it only can succeed because even if you are 100%, you can be killed, as I said, in final stages of Champions League. But only can have real chances of succeeding if you are 1000%. And I don't see the team pressing as they were pressing last season. So I can understand these things, and a part of these things, of pure sporting things, also personal things related with Fermin. I don't feel appreciated or loved. Now I'm going to say if I'm staying or not. Olmo, bad mood. Koundé, angry. Ferran and Lewandowski, the same. Lamine, let's talk about Lamine. I hope we can make a special mini chapter inside this chapter to talk about Lamine, because the goal is his fault. Just being with eyes following the player of the Rayo, with the eyes following him, not you have to be there. So, several things that, for me, what Hansi Flick said is 100% what's happening. Some of the players have forgotten or have thought that they are already the kings, and they have done nothing. Yeah, exactly. As Rik is doing, Lamine wearing the crown. What kind of crown? You have not even won a single Champions League. What crown? What crown?
Yeah. Do you know, in terms of like the rotations that you were talking about, Tony, I got the feeling from these first matches that it seems like Barca has kind of treated this first 3 games as almost like the continuation of pre-season, which to me is odd, because it makes sense for Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, who have had no pre-season, to do that. And we've seen that with some of the rotations Real Madrid have been doing, sort of playing Vinicius, then dropping Vinicius, then bringing him back and so on. But for Barca, who've had a full pre-season and a completely nice summer off, it seems a bit strange to me. And I can see maybe on paper some positives to keep competition high, people on their toes in theory, keep everyone involved and getting minutes. But the feeling actually hasn't been like that after yesterday and the level of the performance.
Yeah. Tony, do you think the situation is salvageable? Salvageable is probably the wrong word because it's a bit dramatic after 3 games, but do you think it could be a positive that this has happened now? Barca haven't lost, they've dropped points once, they've got the international break. Do you think it will help the players to sort of switch on and refocus when they come back after international duty?
No, not dramatic at all. In fact, I think that is the best thing that can happen to this Barca. The best thing that Hansi Flick can use to say, hey, I told you, if we don't go 100%, we are nothing. It's the best thing to make them react. Because imagine yesterday, you don't get the draw. You end up winning. Hey, mister, come on. 9 points out, 9 points. Pim, pam, pim, pam, pim, pam. And then, when you want to react, after being relaxed, you want to react in January or February, and you are training slow motion and not 100%, when you want to react, it's too late. Because to be fit and to be focused, you don't get in 3 weeks. Then it's too late. So, far away from being dramatic. It's the best thing that can happen to this team, because now Hansi Flick will be hard again, we need to be focused again, blah blah blah, and then you have time enough to correct. We are still in September, so for the coach is the best thing.
And a good symptom of that is actually Lamine himself saying after the game, when we come back from the international break, we have to be way more focused. We have to be way more. And I mean, just saying it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but at least he's saying it.
Yeah.
Strange situation. Also, what was a strange situation was the VAR in the first half, which we didn't have. Rick, what did you make of the penalty decision? Like I said before, I think it was down at the time. It does seem that it was down at the time. The Rayo Vallecano coach, Inigo Perez, was obviously furious at the time, but he's apologised for his behaviour and said he's more just annoyed at the VAR situation and acknowledged it could even, he said it wouldn't even surprise him if it was Rayo's fault, obviously with the lack of sort of investment they put into their stadium and technology and whatnot, that it could have been down to them. Issy said that the referee apologised for, or admitted his mistake. I'm not entirely sure because Inigo Perez didn't say that, and even though Issy said that, the Rayo Vallecano forward, that I think that perhaps he's either exaggerated or misunderstood, and I would presume, I don't think the referee would say straight away, yes, it was a mistake, it wasn't a penalty. I think maybe what the referee was saying, like, look, apologies for the lack of VAR
the situation,
or something. I don't know what you made of the whole situation. And Perez also said that games shouldn't be played without VAR and that there should be a better protocol established, but the protocol is that games are played with or without VAR and that games aren't held up because of VAR.
Well, okay, I think two things about it, two separate things. One, was it a penalty? Look, for me, probably not, but I don't hate it. There is some contact. I wouldn't give it if I was the ref.
There is a clear angle where you see his knee crunches into his knee, and it's one of those ones where you think, oh, that's soft, but if it's given, you think probably don't overturn it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not fussed about it. I think Lamine was clever. He moved across him and he sort of earned the contact.
Rik,
yeah.
If the opponent of Chelsea is awarded this penalty in the final of Champions League, what would you say?
Well, I'm not happy about it. That's for sure. I would not be happy about it, but. I don't know. I mean, you know me, Tony. I don't think I've been particularly Chelsea biased when we talked about Chelsea on the pod. I'm not.
No, but
I'm not a madman in terms of that. But it's not great.
For me, it's a penalty that it's not a penalty, but the way is made the rule with VAR that if there is contact, they cannot how do you say overturn or change the decision. It would have not been overturned. So for me it's not penalty, but there is contact. So for me, the way that the rule is written, the VAR would have kept the penalty.
Yeah, and on the second point, on the actual issue of the no VAR thing, I can't believe there isn't just an immediate backup of the audio link for the referee to the VAR booth and the fourth official with an iPad showing him the thing. You don't need the whole system.
It seems, I don't know what. There was someone. Was it a Rayo coach on the bench saying, like, I've got the image here. You can come and look here, kind of thing.
Exactly. It just needs to be official audio link so they can talk to the VAR booth without having via the whole system and someone with an iPad.
It's a mess. It's a mess that you can play without the VAR. As Sam said, you cannot play without the VAR. It's circus.
Sam didn't say that. Inigo Perez said that.
It seems it seems pure circus. I mean, I cannot believe that there is no VAR, so we keep going. It's like, okay, we don't have the ball, but we can play with a tennis ball. You know, this is not serious. No, really, this is not serious.
You just knew that once the VAR, you just knew there would be a decision that they wouldn't be able to get through the first half without some sort of decision which would have needed to have VAR input, or some people would have thought you needed VAR input, and it had to happen, didn't it?
It's not football, it's La Liga.
Exactly.
It's actually worse this season. Like, every game there are decisions, and it does happen in other leagues, but I feel like because of maybe it's because I live in the bubble as well, and you see all the criticisms and all the comments. It does feel a lot worse here, and it feels like it's gone backwards at the start of this season in regards to sort of Real Madrid and Barcelona and moaning and conspiracy theories and whatnot. So hopefully they can get that fixed after the international break.
Yes, I mean, I actually don't think there's much in this, because if you look at the decisions one by one, they all seem relatively reasonable. But 3 goals disallowed for Real Madrid, 2 for Rayo, and the penalty VAR thing. Madrid are going to be absolutely fuming after this without good reason, I would say, considering, you know, Mbappe was offside twice, and maybe the other decision in the Madrid game was a bit harsh against them, and Barca had a bit of a generous one with the penalty here.
The only one is the penalty is the generous one. I mean, Rayo's goals are offside. There's no other contentious decisions here.
No, but it's just I'm ready for the videos next time I have to turn on Real Madrid TV.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't use numbers to I mean, if you do want to use numbers, I'm sure there's numbers massively weighted in the favours of both Barcelona and Real Madrid historically in terms of penalties awarded, goals awarded pre and post VAR, etc. I know it is true that since VAR, Real Madrid have had more goals ruled out, I think. But that also, people also use that to say, well, like, look how many goals Real Madrid used to get, which referees were too afraid to not rule out before VAR.
And it's also to do with the nature of how these teams play. Obviously, Barca's changed under Flick, but before that, Real Madrid have players that go beyond the defence. You have Vinicius and Rodrigo and players that dart beyond the defence. They get offside more. They're going to score more goals that are offside.
Okay, for the first time this season, please take away Rik's ratings.
Yeah, unfortunately, quite low ratings across the board, apart from for Joan Garcia, 9.5. Superb game. We've talked about him already. We'll carry on. Jules Koundé, 4.5. Eric, the same. Christensen, 5.5. He had one or two good moments, Christensen.
5.5.
Yeah.
It's a new part of the season that we have to discover which of the 11 ratings is fake, no? It's a kind of game. Okay, I would bet on that this one is the fake.
Christensen, not happy with you.
Not happy? Not happy with all what he did, cutting key actions on the last moment, going into the pitch, tackle.
Well, yeah, no, I thought it was quite good, but compared to the others, not compared to normal, strong Barca performance. Balde, 5. Pedri, 7. Frankie, 6.5. And then Lamine, 5. Olmo, 4. Rafinha, 4. Ferran, 4. Rashford, I gave a 5 off the bench and no other ratings off the bench.
Sí, mira, apart from Christensen, I would more or less agree, yes. Yes, because one thing that also was missing yesterday is that people coming from the bench brought nothing extra. It's like if we bring Samuel Marsden on the second half. So I would say that the best one was Gerard Martin, not because he did nothing, but at least he was fast enough in a couple of actions to cut the progress of Bayern, of Rayo. So, yeah, disappointing also, people coming from the bench yesterday.
So we've got time for today, Monday, deadline day. The transfer window closes around Europe. So we'll be back later this week to discuss what happens. As we record, it's looking potentially like a quiet day at Barcelona. We don't expect any Fermin Lopez action. Tony's got his hand up.
Yeah, no, before finishing, just two quick inputs. First one, if there was a meeting in the dressing room with Hansi Flick with the players after the game. He was critical, telling the players that they should think during this international break about his commitment. They should think if they are bringing the best collective version or not. So he said that this is not the way to succeed. He was really worried, more than annoyed. He was honest on his words, not shouting like crazy, but yes, worried with what he sees. And second is that this is being recorded Monday morning. Of course, things still can happen. But right now, the situation of Barca with Héctor Fort is not as clear as it seemed. He was almost ready to go to Mallorca, but Maffeo is still not being able to close his departure from Mallorca. And I think, of course, things can change, but right now it's complicated for Héctor Fort to have a space in Mallorca.
Yeah, certainly seems like there's not going to be any major business at Barca on Monday. We'll see if that comes back to haunt me later in the week when we'll be back to assess what does happen on transfer deadline, the closing of the window, and answer the remaining questions from last week's Q&A over on Patreon. In the meantime, stay positive.